Are you ready? If you're not down with that, we got 2 words for ya. What's up? I'm awesome. Hello, ladies. Hey, ladies. Hey, really? Really? Oh, yeah. Yes. Yowie, wowie. Like mom. Baby. It's true. Believe that.
Listen, if she's into wrestling, she's probably also going to be into rap metal, and that's just something you're going to have to figure out if you're okay with. And, for the most part, this is really just a phase anyway. So, go for it. Have fun, go on a couple of dates, watch some wrestling, listen to Fred Durst albums, and then after it's all said and done, you can go find a good girl that likes Coldplay. But until then, this is the 2 Words Podcast. Welcome, everyone, to the premier wrestling show on LTN Network, on LTN Radio, whatever we're calling
LTN
it.
Radio, LTN Podcast Network, all the things.
Love thy nerd. Just, we're the wrestling guys.
Yes.
And today, if you do find yourself in that situation where you're looking for a nice young girl who likes wrestling and not crappy music, we got the show for you, because our 2 words today are love story. We're going to be talking about all of the fun love stories and all of the awful love stories that have overtaken wrestling throughout the years. But first, hey yo, Brock Lesnar is back on the WWE roster page.
Okay, so there have been a lot of news stories about that.
Yeah.
He was only briefly off it. He's been on it for weeks.
For the most part?
Yeah.
Okay.
They're still selling his merch. He's still on it as a thing. I don't think they are 100% certain what they're going to do with him. If they're going to, I'm not sure they want to just throw it out the window. I think they want to see what exactly is going to be.
Which way is this hammer going to fall?
Yeah. Because I feel like most of the heat is going to knock Sting over.
Sorry, Sting.
Most of the heat's going to be
Career's over anyway. Who cares?
On Vince. So I don't know. I think it's still up in the air whether or not we'll see him again. Hopefully not anytime soon. But yeah, he is back.
I'm just really worried when they do bring him back, in some sort of official wrestling capacity, that they don't try to do the thing they normally do. And it's let's make a storyline that's kind of similar to what's happened in real life. I don't.
Which is kind of be part of our main topic today too.
It would be. That would unfortunately be the case.
I'd be fine if we just stopped. If we just cut him out. We don't need him.
You don't want to see no more Brock Lesnar?
He's a fun attraction, and has been, but
yeah.
Wrestling is great right now without him.
Yeah, we don't need to see him.
Yeah, I feel like there are a few things in this world that get you taken off the job you're doing at the time, and this would be one of those.
But if these allegations against him, which I know they appear to be
right.
True, and we're not going to discuss those allegations. But if they're not true or 100% true, then there's really no need to just Chris Benoit him off this thing, right?
He also wasn't technically named.
That's true.
And that might be one of the reasons why they're holding out.
Yeah.
I don't know. There's no way it couldn't have. There's nobody else that fits the description, but his name was not technically in the thing. But anyway.
Technically.
I'm good with him just kicking off. We're good.
Okay.
Hey, yo! AEW Revolution 2024 might be the 3rd highest selling pay-per-view for the brand.
Wow.
All Elite Wrestling hosted their inaugural 2024 pay-per-view Revolution on March 3rd. Taking place at Greensboro Coliseum in North Carolina. The event was prominently featured Sting's farewell match, hence the featured pop for today. Sting's farewell match. Did you get to watch it yet?
I watched a little bit of it. I got to see some of the entrances and then some of the other stuff they did with his sons.
Yeah, it was really cool.
It was a nice little.
It was a good send off. It wasn't 5-star match,
Yeah,
but it was
65.
good. Yeah. So the pay-per-view buy rate for Revolution is expected to range from 170,000 to 176,000 buys by the end of this week, I think, which would be a 26% increase in TV purchases and 25% rise in streaming purchases compared to their last show in December.
It's crazy people are still buying pay-per-views.
Yeah. Especially
that's just impressive in its own.
Sting completed his tenure in AEW without a single defeat. I believe that would make 9-0 of the matches that he had.
Okay.
After the win, Sting and Allin relinquished the titles, setting the stage for the crowning of new champions through a forthcoming tournament. Despite Sting's preference to relinquish the titles in his final match, he wanted to lose. He wanted to do the job like you normally do when you leave. Khan and the Bucks insisted that he win his final match. So I was okay with it.
Yeah.
I'm okay with The Undertaker and Sting winning their final matches. Everybody else.
Interesting that both of them, there's something about both of them.
There's something about them.
Yeah. I was thinking about that earlier because there was something that came up on Facebook. It's like, what's the absolute worst booking you've ever seen? And a lot of people were saying Brock Lesnar defeating the Streak. And I was like, no, it's Sting versus Triple H at WrestleMania 31. Yeah. That is the worst booking.
That was the worst one.
Of all humanity.
I agree with
There's
you. There's
nothing worse than that.
The fact is, Sting should have been having his last match in WWE.
Yeah.
Sting should have been treated like the icon that he is in WWE.
Should have been treated like royalty.
And he was buried. And all
because of some heat from 20 years ago.
Right. We didn't need the final nail in the coffin in WWE beating WCW.
We need that. We already had it.
That long out. So
could have done, I don't know. You could have
been much better.
Could have done a lot
However, one quick note. In the package, the opening package of highlights from Sting's career that we saw on AEW Revolution as a part of his entrance.
Yeah.
You didn't see any stuff from WCW and WWE.
Huh.
And that is not because WWE said no. AEW never reached out and asked for any footage.
Just didn't want to do it?
From the longest tenure run that he had. So they had some early indie stuff and then the AEW stuff. And they just jumped. We skipped over
just
30 years.
But then they did the whole thing with one of his sons dressing up as Wolfpack Sting.
Yeah, it was cool. I liked it.
Which was great. No. Those were both, the whole thing, the whole tribute. It was very good. It was very touching. Albeit for me, it was 10 years too late.
Right.
He could have done this at 55 and done a much better farewell match then. But he didn't, and that's his business, I guess.
Yeah.
Whatever. Hey, yo. Ryback says he will come back to the WWE on one condition. The 42-year-old former Intercontinental Champion, I didn't realize he was that old, had this to say on his podcast. Hey, they wipe it clean and there's new blood in there. Why wouldn't I go back to the organization? He's going to say hey a bunch in this. Why wouldn't I go back to the organization I made my name in? It would be very beneficial for me to some capacity if I'm able to get cleared and to do that. God bless with that, right? So I don't know what he said. So I had to go back and listen to the podcast because reading the words is he talks just like you think he would. Mm-hmm. So I'll go on record 1,000%. They're all gone. I will 1,000% have a conversation with The Rock and new blood in that company if all of the old pieces are wiped out. So he's basically saying if Triple H leaves, he'll come back. And I just don't know who's clamoring we need Ryback.
I keep remembering the polls that he would put up on Twitter. They'd be like, what should I do next in my career? And he would list like, go to TNA, go to AEW, go back to WWE, or retire. And retire would just be out the thing. Man. And so he got on later. He's like, all right, I blocked all the trolls who flooded the retire button. So let's try this again. And once again, all the way to just 100% retire. And it's not that I hated Ryback. He was fun.
He was fun while it lasted, but I think he thinks we're all just
clamoring for
Ryback to come back. And it's just
feed him more.
Yeah, we just no, we don't need that.
We're good.
I did not realize though that he worked for the company from like 2004 to 2016.
Oh wow.
He was in 2004 season of Tough Enough.
Wow.
Like,
that's a longer run
he
than I assumed.
He was in Nexus. He was in all that stuff.
Was he in Nexus?
Yeah, he was in Nexus.
Wow.
He was, I want to say Skip Sheffield, but it was something, yeah.
But he was in there.
He was one of the background characters basically in Nexus. Ryan Sheffield, I think was his name.
Sheffield.
In Nexus. And then they took him down to FCW and packaged him and whatever. But yeah, it's just this weird arrogance of him, this weird thought that he has. It's just like everybody wants him back. I'm like,
it's like him and Virgil.
Yeah.
The greatest superstars of all time.
Rest in peace, Virgil.
Yeah. But I just remember seeing him at every low budget Comic-Con.
Oh, and just
pretending like he was the greatest.
And nobody wanted to go see him.
Wondering why there was no line at his booth. Speaking of people who might be coming back to the WWE, Mercedes Moné believes she's going back to WWE eventually. Rumors are strongly suggesting that Mercedes Moné is on her way to AEW, with many anticipating her debut on this week's episode of AEW Dynamite. We are discussing this before that show airs, but you are hearing this after, so you will know before we do.
Come tell us.
If it happens.
Tell us the future people.
But she's not ruling out a return to WWE, even stating confidently that she knows she will make her way back there someday during an excerpt from the Kick Rocks Wrestling podcast. Moné discussed her wrestling career future and the possibility of returning to WWE. While she kept details about her immediate plans under wraps, she emphasized her certainty of returning to WWE eventually, especially when reflecting on her departure from the company in 2022. She said this specifically, said, I know I'm going to be back there, WWE, one day, okay? So it's not the end. Like I mentioned, there's a lot of unfinished business I have in wrestling across various places. It is worth noting that this remark came from a preview snippet of the episode, but then was removed from the episode, suggesting that Moné might have had second thoughts about sharing this insight, especially after signing a substantial new contract with AEW.
Yeah.
I mean, this kind of statement hinting at AEW being merely a temporary phase might not sit so well with Tony Khan and anyone else invested in her direction moving forward.
Yeah, anybody else trying to pay a whole bunch of money for her to stay in their company.
Oh, you're not going to be here forever?
Yeah.
Okay. You're already making plans for after?
You already don't want to be here.
That's what it sounds like.
It's like when my wife walks into a room. Can I go home yet? Like, exactly what it is. It's the
every
same
party.
thing.
Every party she comes to. All right, well, it's getting that time.
And again, this goes back to the Ryback thing. Like, and sure, she was a lot more popular, but like, I'm not like holding my breath for her to come back. I'm not begging for her to show back up in the WWE. I'm not even begging for her to show up in AEW. Like,
yeah, she has got a bit of a Ryback energy going right now.
Just a little bit of a Ryback energy.
But
like,
I mean, she's got the skills, and she's got quite a bit of
she's
following.
Got some heat. Yeah. I will give her that. But for me, I'm just like, is it enough heat for me to care?
Right.
Especially with the current women's division in both of those companies. Mm-hmm. Like, women's wrestling is so good right now.
I'm just waiting for Alexa Bliss to come back.
Stupid good. Oh my gosh. Especially when I'm doing cold openers like that, making Bowling for Soup references that I know like two of you got. Well, how many more do you have?
I have one more.
You have one more. I'll do one more, and then I got one more that fits into the next one in the thing.
Okay.
Hey yo, Steve Mongo McMichael is now in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. The former WCW performer and commentator will now be immortalized at the Pro Football Hall of Fame in Canton, Ohio. McMichael was a member of the Bears football organization for many years, including being on the 1985 Super Bowl team. You might remember that as one of the greatest NFL teams to ever play the game. Also, they did the Super Bowl Shuffle, which we should never let die. They're widely regarded as the best football team ever. He is the second leading tackler in the Bears organization history, as well as a one-time United States heavyweight champion. What a resume. McMichael revealed that he was diagnosed with Lou Gehrig's disease in 2021 and has experienced a rapid decline in health over the last several years. And so he actually can't even go and like accept the award because he's bedridden and he can't. I mean, he is like rapidly kind of one of those, a shell of the human being he used to be. But his wife was there. I'll tell you, man, I don't know if you've ever been like, hey, I need a good cry. Go and watch people being told they're inducted into the NFL Pro Football Hall of Fame. It is like, I mean, more than kittens wearing eye patches. More, it brings almost the same energy as like dads coming home from Iraq.
Really?
Like, it is for me,
gracious.
especially when they used to do it. There used to be this guy, David, I can't think of his last name, but he was like the curator of the whole Hall of Fame. And like when he showed up, it was like everybody knew that's why he was showing up.
There.
And they go, this is amazing. And so he is actually, Steve McMichael, though, he's been eligible for the Pro Football Hall of Fame for like 25 years now at this point. I mean, it's been kind of a long time overdue. He is joined in this class by Dwight Freeney, Devin Hester, Andre Johnson, Patrick Willis, Julius Peppers, and Randy Gradishar, which is quite the class. But a long time overdue. I don't know why I'm holding this. Starbucks product placement.
Not a sponsor.
Not a sponsor. Could be though. If they wanted. We're not those kind of Christians.
Play your cards
right. But long overdue, and someday, hopefully, he will also be inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame for his run with WCW.
Yeah.
Being very good. He was the one. He had Pepe the Chihuahua.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. He was that guy. He was good. A lot of people didn't like him. But I go back and listen to those old WCW Nitros, and I'm like, this is great. This is the energy we need. And so good on him, and we obviously wish him the best.
Yes. All right. Hey, yo, my last one here. Dominic Mysterio got married.
Hey, we're talking about Dominic Mysterio.
Got married last week.
Good job. Yeah. Good on him.
Despite being involved in a televised romance with Rhea Ripley on WWE, Dominic Mysterio celebrated his actual wedding on Thursday, March 7th. Mysterio wed Marie Juliette, his longtime girlfriend of more than a decade, whom he has been with since they were both 14 years old.
Oh.
Dominic Gutierrez, which is his name, shared the news of his engagement in January. The wedding itself had a touch of WWE, featuring Damian Priest and Austin Theory as part of the groomsmen. And then Dominic faced a unique reception from his guest, who booed him as he attempted to deliver a speech at the reception.
I did see that video, and it's my favorite.
It's really good.
Oh, that was best. Yeah, I mean, congratulations to him.
Yeah.
I do find it kind of funny because have you seen pictures of his new bride?
Actually, no, I haven't seen a picture.
Could not be more different than Rhea Ripley.
Really?
Just every single thing the opposite. She's short. She's thin. She's tan. She does not have a lot of muscles. And I don't know. She probably listens to Coldplay. I don't know. Rhea Ripley definitely listens to rap metal. But no, we're good on him. Good on him. And good on his guests for booing him.
Yes. Fun.
But
Fun stuff.
Wouldn't it have been hilarious had his now wife not realized that's what was happening? And she just thought, people were...
Why are you doing this? Why are you ruining our day?
This is my wedding! That would be so... And he's just sitting there trying to convince them. Like, don't convince her. Like, don't worry, it's fine. It's fine. This is just a thing we do. Well, moving on, we have a special a review.
A review.
A review. It's a review. It's not kind of a review. It is a review. The Iron Claw came out back in December, and this is really the first opportunity we're getting to do this review. I watched it opening weekend. Have you gotten a chance?
I tried to watch it. I didn't get a chance to.
Okay. And so we're just going to kind of talk about that. But Matt, you have a synopsis of the film.
Yeah, I'll give the synopsis and then...
Spoilers for anybody who hasn't been alive for 30 years.
That's true. It's hard to do spoilers for a based on a true story thing.
Yeah.
But yeah. So the Iron Claw 2023 biographical sports drama film written and directed by Sean Durkin. It's based on the life of professional wrestler Kevin Von Erich and the Von Erich family. The story unfolds in the 1980s following the inseparable Von Erich brothers as they make history in the intensely competitive world of professional wrestling. Under the shadow of their domineering father and coach, they seek larger-than-life immortality on the biggest stage in sports. The film also delves into the tragic losses faced by the Von Erich family. So, tell me about it. What's good?
So,
who is it? Zac Efron?
Zac Efron.
Yeah.
He was a kid from that movie 17 again, and Baywatch.
Wasn't he also in High School Musical?
Yeah, I guess. But I wouldn't know that because I'm an adult male. No, he was in High School Musical. But honestly, and I haven't seen a lot of Zac Efron movies. But this is a great performance from Zac Efron.
I can't pinpoint anything I've seen him in,
Yeah.
but I know I've seen him in stuff.
He's there.
And he's been good.
Yeah.
So
I'm pretty excited to see him in the new John Cena movie, Ricky Stenicki.
I have heard nothing but terrible things.
Oh, I don't care. Has it come out yet?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna watch it. I'll watch that tonight. Maybe that's next date night. It probably is terrible. I mean, it doesn't look just fantastic, but
None of the previews are giving me hope. No.
I don't know. Anyway, no, Zac Efron, I think probably the performance of his career, in my personal opinion. And nobody else is going to see this. That's the thing, is like nobody that liked Zac Efron from High School Musical
is going to go see
is going to be like, oh, the wrestling movie. That has Kevin Von Erich performance. But I thought it was fantastic performances from an all-star cast, because there are certain things you always see actors as. Like certain actors, you're like, that's always...
They get typecast.
Yeah, like I'm always going to see Holt McCallany as the guy from Fight Club. I'm always going to see Zac Efron as the kid from High School Musical. We're always going to see Jeremy Allen White as the guy from The Bear. Like, this is it. But you kind of forget all of that. And you're able to just really, really focus on that. Fantastic performances, like I said. They really were able to get into great characters, with one major exception, and that is Aaron Dean Eisenberg's Ric Flair. It was awful. It was so bad. So bad. And I try not to be hateful towards actors, but this was such a bad Ric. He wasn't even trying to do a Ric Flair. He didn't look like Ric Flair. He didn't talk like Ric Flair. He just, the closest thing he came to Ric Flair is he bled. Like,
I need to see what it looks like.
And you almost have to listen to because it's towards the end of the film, or kind of towards somewhere in the film, and Ric Flair is doing some matches with Kevin Von Erich, and it's like, to beat the man, you have to beat the man, because I'm the limousine riding, kiss stealing, wheeling dealing son of a gun. I'm like, could you not even try just a little harder?
Could you watch the promo?
Just watch the promo. And so, and a lot of other people have noticed this was not a good Ric Flair impression. But, as like I said, aside from that, really some fantastic performances. The film looked really good, just from like a visual perspective. It was filmed on 35 millimeter, which made it really feel like an 80s story. It wasn't this super high def, Blu-ray, all the, I don't know things, but, it really made it feel like one of those movies we watched in the 80s, the stories we see from the 70s. And so I think
that's what they did with Glow too on Netflix.
Yeah.
It had that same feel, that it felt like it could have been filmed.
Very, very good
stuff.
Great music.
Yeah.
Fantastic music. They used Tom Sawyer by Rush, which was perfect. I mean, you could use Tom Sawyer. I'm one of those guys, I think you could use Tom Sawyer by Rush in almost everything.
That can be in every soundtrack.
Be in every movie, and I'm just like, yep, that's it. That's the one. There is a song called Live That Way Forever by Richard Reed Parry and a band called Little Scream, and it is probably one of my favorite songs that I've heard in a very, very, very long time. I think it was written for the film. It's not an actual 80s song, but it was performed in the film. Again, spoilers. But it was just this beautiful song they kind of played throughout the film. Like I said, music was great. Now historical accuracy was mostly okay. For the most part, it seems as though the biggest deviations from the true story were made to either A, keep the story moving, or B, emphasize certain aspects of the story. So we see things like, Kerry is going to lose his leg right after winning the World Heavyweight Championship, when in reality it was a couple of years later in a totally unrelated moment. But you kind of have to keep the story moving.
Yeah, I mean, all movies based on a true story have to do that too.
Not a big deal. Fritz von Erich is shown a little more as a tyrant, while Kevin Von Erich has said in real life, he was strict, but he really just wanted the best for his family. So you're going to see Colt McCallany's performance as Fritz as being, you're really going to not like Fritz Von Erich by the end of the film. You don't really know why, but you're just like, this guy's just a jerk. When in reality, that wasn't
100%
exactly the case. Yeah. The biggest change, though, that seems to be getting under everybody's skin is that they don't even mention Chris Von Erich, who was the youngest of the Von Erich brothers, who committed suicide in 1991. Sean Durkin, the film's director, said that Chris was in early drafts of the movie, but they had to be cut. Durkin said there was a repetition to it, and it was one more tragedy the film just couldn't withstand. So they show Kevin, Kerry, David, and I can't remember who
the other one.
Yeah,
not Chris.
the other guy. And then they talked about the oldest brother, Jack, who died years prior to all of this.
Right.
So what had kind of happened was, they basically took the two youngest brothers because their stories were very, very similar, and they just kind of combined them as one person, all with the blessing of Kevin Von Erich. So like they told him like, hey, this is kind of the direction we're thinking about going. And he said, that's fine. Here's the thing is you can only have so many brothers commit suicide before you're like, is this real? explaining this story to somebody, it does not sound like a true story.
Right.
And at one point during the film, Hillary leans over to me and she's like, okay, so which one of them dies? And I was like, of everybody in this film? She goes, yeah. I said, Zac Efron's character lives. She goes, are you kidding me? Mm-hmm. I was like, buckle up. Because it is going to get, it's going to get rough.
Yeah.
Now, for those who love wrestling and are somewhat familiar with the story, there's almost this anxiety that builds within the whole film because the movie just doesn't really get happier. Like, it's just not going to get... There's no,
upswing.
I mean, a little bit kind of at the end of the film, but there's all this tension. But at the end of the day, it truly is, I think, a love letter from Kevin to his brothers, because the whole thing is about how much Kevin absolutely loved his family and how much he absolutely wanted to take care of them. And he was always willing to take care of them and do whatever he had to. And like, he just loved them.
Yeah.
There's a moment in the film where he meets, his future wife, and she says, well, what do you want in this life? He goes, I want to own a ranch with my brothers. Like, that's just what I just want to be with my family all the time. Like, I love them that much. It is great. And honestly, this movie has one of the most beautiful endings to a movie I've ever seen. And I don't want to spoil too much, but there is a scene where kind of you see all of the brothers who have died meet up at the end in this sort of ethereal afterlife kind of thing. And there's just this moment of true beauty there. And Kevin kind of gets his rest at the end of that, and he gets to walk away from everything. To me, this is not a wrestling movie. This is a movie about wrestlers.
Yeah.
And it is a fantastic one at that. And so if you have not gotten the opportunity to see it, you need to. It's fantastic. Terrible date night film. We went on a date night and it was like, oh, well, I guess we're not even going to hold hands at the end of this. Not a great date night film, but a great movie.
So kind of the opposite of Ready to Rumble.
Oh, the exact opposite. It could not have been. I swear if Zac Efron becomes Universal Champion, I'm out.
The Iron Claw is now available to purchase digitally on Amazon Prime and Apple TV. It should eventually release on Max, as Max does have an exclusive deal with the A24 studio,
okay,
the indie studio behind the movie, though the release date is unknown currently.
Yeah.
I still got to watch it. I got to get it this week.
It's gonna happen. Like I said, it's so good. Like, it was just... it looked really good from the previews, but then you're watching, you're like, this was such a good movie. It's not a feel-good movie, but it is so
good movie, not a feel-good movie.
It's one of those, yeah.
I'll wait till I have a really good day where I'm overly happy. That way, maybe I'll
balance out. Yeah. Well, and like, you know how sometimes women will have like that movie that they watch to make them cry.
Yeah.
This is that for men. It almost has to be. This is almost like season 6 of Scrubs for me. Like, you want a good cry, you turn on season 6 and just run it through, and you're like, this is me getting out emotions. This is that for me. Well, moving on, we have come to our 2 words for the day, and our 2 words are love story. Because this was going to be our Valentine's Day podcast. And then we didn't get that one recorded, and then we haven't met for a month.
Yeah.
And we just didn't want to write a new one.
We went through all the trouble of getting this one done.
Yeah, and I thought it was a really good podcast. And speaking of love stories, one final hey yo CJ Perry and Miro have called it quits.
I saw that.
TMZ has reported that after 7+ years of marriage, the two AEW stars have ended things on good terms. I love air quotes on that because nobody knows what that means. It is said that they broke up in the winter of 2023 after years of on-again, off-again relationships. Perry confirmed the news, saying, Miro and I have made the difficult decision to separate after many wonderful years together and have decided to move on as friends and hopefully on-screen characters somewhere down the road.
Yeah.
I hate this, like, oh, maybe we can be friends someday. Nope. Don't want to be your friend.
Cut ties.
I don't want to be your friend anymore. I had a girlfriend say that to me one time. She's like, "Could you think we could be friends someday?" And I'm like, I don't think we're friends now. I don't think we've ever been friends. I'm looking back at this and thinking, I've never actually found you as an enjoyable person. And so, love, right?
Miro's already moved back to Bulgaria. Like
Has he really? Mm-hmm. Good for him. Rusev Udria. Well, so throughout the years, wrestling has used love stories to progress certain storylines or to create certain storylines, and sometimes they hit, and sometimes they miss, and sometimes they're just really funny. Some notable ones to me, Zack Ryder and Eve Torres.
I have that on your.
You remember how awful, like, it was that whole thing, and then, because I just remember Eve Torres kissing John Cena next to an ambulance. And then the camera pans, and there is Zack Ryder in a wheelchair, as pitifully as humanly possible, holding roses. And that all culminated in a WrestleMania moment where Eve Torres kicks him in the wiener at WrestleMania. So,
allowing The Miz to pin him.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then celebrated with The Miz. Yeah.
Allowing John Laurinaitis to become the GM of
that's right.
Both Raw and SmackDown.
Yeah. That was like the killing of Ryder's character.
Oh yeah.
Like that was his momentum killer. He never got any of that momentum back after that.
And he worked really hard at getting that.
He was up there, like he was at LA Knight level, like right now.
Yeah.
Like just a step away from the main event status. Yeah. He was there. And
he's United States champion.
Yeah. And then this whole thing is just he started with Kane. You remember Kane was the one that like hurled him off the staging area and everything.
Pushed him off that thing. We had to rewatch it. I remember I was with my buddies Mike and Kevin, and we were watching it live, and it was like his ankles just went out. It was like that wasn't was not how you were supposed to land that, bud. Who could forget Mark Henry and Mae Young?
That's also funny.
Just so wonderfully awful.
77 years young.
How do we even explain something like that to people who have never even watched wrestling? Like, how do you explain?
This is one of those things, like, if you try to explain it to someone,
there is a giant Olympic weightlifter and this 77-year-old woman, and she gives birth to a hand. And that was the story. That was it. That was the end of, like... It didn't move forward, except it did pay one dividends, and that is, it was like Raw 1000.
It was, yeah.
And Mark Henry opens the door, and there is a guy, there's a grown man in a hand costume, and he goes, "Dad?" Oh, it was the best.
It was a really good callback. Yeah, that was.
What love stories? What love stories do you have?
Kane, Lita, Matt Hardy, and Edge. All four. 2004, Kane became obsessed with Lita, who was dating Matt Hardy at the time. He stalked her and attacked Matt, demanded a night with Lita in exchange for leaving them alone. Lita reluctantly agreed, hoping to protect Matt. Lita later found out that she was pregnant. Kane claimed to be the father. He threatened to harm the baby if Lita did not marry him. Lita initially tried to cause a miscarriage, but then decided to keep the baby and marry Kane. That's just the start of this crazy story.
It's not even the worst part of it.
Kane and Lita had a wedding ceremony on Raw, but it was interrupted by Matt Hardy, who attacked Kane. Kane defeated Matt in a till death do us part match and forced Lita to go with him. Lita suffered a miscarriage after Kane accidentally fell on her during a fight with Gene Snitsky. Kane blamed Snitsky for the loss of his child and started a feud with him. Lita also blamed Kane and grew to resent him. And this is where that Gene Snitsky infamously and horrendously punted a baby doll into the crowd to mock Kane and Lita's situation. We've talked about that a lot on this show. The punting of the baby.
That made national news.
Yeah. Then Kane and Lita's relationship began to improve over time. So it's like this Stockholm Syndrome kind of thing where Lita is like, okay, I guess I am in love with you. They teamed up against Snitsky and other enemies. Lita even helped Kane win the World Tag Team Championship with the Hurricane. Kane started to show more affection and care toward Lita, and she seemed to reciprocate. However, in 2005, Lita turned on Kane and revealed that she was having an affair with Edge, who was her real-life boyfriend at the time. Lita and Edge mocked and tormented Kane, who sought revenge. Kane and Edge had several matches, including a steel cage match and a stretcher match, but Edge always managed to escape or cheat his way to victory. Lita and Edge then continued their relationship and became one of the most hated couples in WWE history. Yep. They won several championships and engaged in scandalous segments such as the live SEX celebration, which the couple literally simulated having intercourse in a bed placed in the middle of a ring on a live episode of Raw.
Yep.
Imagine being a parent who brought their kid to that show. I was watching it alone and being like, I am uncomfortable.
Someone's going to walk in.
This is taking this. I think it was only a couple minutes. It felt like a 30-minute segment. Yeah. I'm just like, please stop. Please stop this.
Yeah.
Somebody dump slime on them or something. Let's get this over with.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so like for a good stretch of time, Lita was just like being passed from person to person.
Yeah.
In the storylines.
But the worst part of that wasn't even the on-screen stuff. It was the fact that all of this was because Lita was real life dating Matt Hardy.
Yeah.
And then did real life cheat on Matt Hardy with Edge.
Yeah.
And then started dating Edge. And then the WWE, in all of their great wisdom, said, this would make great television.
Yeah. So following that, that's where Matt Hardy came back in.
And Matt Hardy almost killed Edge.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
it was.
And now Lita's not married to either one of them.
And she's also very beloved when she comes back every now.
Yeah, everybody loves all of it. How is Matt Hardy the most hated one of this whole group? He didn't do anything wrong.
Right, that's right.
He was trying to do his job. I don't like that. A similar story, though, happens several years later in a love square between Daniel Bryan, Kane, CM Punk, and AJ Lee.
Something about Kane. Something about that big red monster.
I mean, nope.
It's the mystery.
Nope. Not gonna.
Tall, dark, and mysterious. That's what the ladies like.
That's it. No, because you remember Daniel Bryan and AJ Lee, they were dating.
Yeah.
And she would come out and he would use her in skeevy ways to win matches, such as having the Big Show. The Big Show would come running towards him, he'd move out of the way, and Big Show would just run over AJ Lee, and he would be, oh, I'm so upset because I'm a giant and I hurt small people. And that was a bad Big Show impression, but
spot on.
But then, he Daniel Bryan coming in Intercontinental Champion to WrestleMania 28, and kissing AJ Lee, and then he turns right around and gets the big boot to the face
and immediately loses.
Yeah. So then when Daniel Bryan goes into all of the, World Heavyweight Championship picture, it starts going between this whole love quadrilateral, whatever, between Kane and CM Punk and himself, and AJ Lee is just like, I'm in love with all of these guys. And that's when CM Punk famously said, I do love crazy chicks, which was no surprise to any of us. But she'd come out with the Kane mask, dressed in like kind of a Harley Quinn thing. And then she'd be kissing Daniel Bryan and the whole thing. It's like, we didn't need any of this. just so you could make Daniel Bryan, Kane, and CM Punk fight each other. Like, you could have just booked that match.
Right.
Could have just booked that. You could have easily just booked that match.
Speaking of another love triangle, maybe the most infamous one, began the summer of 1999.
So many things began that year,
when
that summer.
Stephanie McMahon and Test started an on-screen relationship. They faced opposition from Stephanie's brother Shane, who did not approve of Test and challenged him to a lover or leaver match at SummerSlam. Test won the match, earned the right to marry Stephanie. They got engaged, planned to have their wedding on the November 29th episode of Raw. However, their wedding was interrupted by Triple H, who revealed that he had drugged and married Stephanie in a drive-through chapel in Las Vegas, while she was unconscious. Not only revealed this, but showed a whole video of it, where he's turning around and answering for her. I do.
Yeah. Oh, it's a fantastic segment.
This shocked everyone, especially Tess, who was left heartbroken and humiliated. Stephanie initially acted as if she was a victim of Triple H's scheme, but later revealed that she was in on it and had betrayed her father and Tess to side with Triple H. This marked the end of Stephanie and Tess' relationship and the beginning of Triple H and Stephanie's power couple reign. And while the storyline was cringy and gross, Triple H and Stephanie did make a fantastic, mostly heel couple on TV, and a seemingly great couple in real life, as they actually got married in 2003, have 3 daughters together, seem to work well together. I mean, it was a pretty gross story to start with, but
yeah.
Pretty good story in real life.
My problem with that segment is, and I don't know, I'm not an expert, but I don't think Roofalin lasts that long. I don't think you can. I don't know that you can drug a person long enough to get them to Vegas and marry that. It's not an 8-hour thing. I don't think. Again, I'm no expert.
Maybe it was just X-Pac in the back.
I need it to be known. I am no expert on Roofalin.
Oh, man. We all got chloroform.
Every time I hear the word Roofalin, I just think of the scene in The Hangover where he goes, they call it Roofalin, but they should really call it Floralin because it puts you on the ground.
I'm a little concerned that you know the term. I've never actually heard the full term. I've heard roofie.
Roofalum.
I've never known it was Roofalin.
Roofalum. I think that's what it's called.
Anyway.
I don't even know. Now, I don't know why it actually exists. I don't know what medical purpose it actually serves. But I know that Job on Arrested Development called it a forget-me-not when he didn't want to remember his dates. Anyway, I will say that for me, any of the Stephanie McMahon stuff is weird because I do remember that there was a point where Vince McMahon was trying to pitch a romantic angle between him and his daughter. And you know how bad that has to be when everybody tells Vince McMahon, there's no way you can do this. You have to stop.
Yeah.
We've let you do all of these things.
Not
That's
even,
where the line was.
It wasn't even just romantic. He was pitching
she gonna kiss him on the lips.
Pregnant and everything. And then when everyone shot him down, he then pitched, well, what if it was Shane, her brother? And they're like, no.
We're not going in a better direction.
No, absolutely not.
You can't do this.
And now I feel like all the signs were there.
Yeah, no, 100%. I was about to say, why are we so surprised by all of this stuff that's happening now? Do you remember? I didn't have this written down. Do you remember the love triangle that's just so cursed it's in my brain forever? Lacey Evans, Charlotte Flair, and Ric Flair. Oh wait, no, it was just Charlotte. Lacey Evans was trying to get with Ric Flair to get under Charlotte Flair's skin, and it was like
because he was supposed to be managing her.
Yes,
and his attention was now elsewhere.
And then it was like Lacey Evans was like, "I'm pregnant. I'm having Ric Flair's baby," and we heard about that for one episode, and then they nixed it. They were like, "Nope, too far, too far."
Good job. PG era sometimes pays off.
Good job. Too far. Can't do that because she was pregnant in real life. So she was like, "Oh, we'll just play this angle. It'll be funny."
Yeah.
Like, it's not as funny as you guys thought it was.
Let's not do that.
And finally, for me, we do remember John Cena and Nikki Bella and how weird that had to have been in real life because it was a real life relationship.
I think having them be a part of the Bella's reality show, was a bad idea. It made me really dislike John Cena.
They made John Cena look so bad.
Yeah.
Like, such an enormous piece of crap was John Cena. Like,
I have to actively not think about those things to enjoy him in anything he's doing today.
Can't.
He was naked at the Oscars.
He was naked at the Oscars. I don't know why, though.
Because he was given an award for costume design.
Okay.
And so it was a pun on he didn't have a costume.
Yeah.
For the show.
The only thing that I've seen from the Oscars is Al Pacino giving away the Oscar for best picture. And have you seen this? Mm-mm. He opens up the envelope and normally they open up the envelope and it's like they announce all of the nominees and then they go, and the Oscar for best picture is, and then they give it the Oscar. So he goes, but Al Pacino being 1,000 gets up there and he's like, a lot of good movies coming out this year, and this is the award for best picture that is in this envelope, which I will open now. And then he opens it and he goes, and I see Oppenheimer. And that's how he gave and nobody knew, there's a deafening silence when he says it because nobody was ready for it to be announced.
Just that quickly.
He just opened it and was like, and I see Oppenheimer. It's the best Oscar moment in the world.
No, I did see John Mulaney.
John Mulaney
go on a little rant about how Field of Dreams should be the best picture this year.
Field of Dreams should be best picture this year.
No, but I do have a couple good ones.
Okay,
we talked about listing a few good ones that went relatively well on TV and possibly real life.
Okay,
first one, only successful wedding in wrestling history, on-air wedding. Randy Savage and Miss Elizabeth.
Didn't Randy Savage get bit by a king cobra?
That happened at the reception.
Okay.
Not at the wedding. The wedding ceremony went off without
Not talking about perfect receptions.
No, we're not. No other ceremony has ever gotten through. This one did. And, they truly did love each other in real life, too. They were married in real life as well.
Yeah.
And they did eventually divorce. But even after that, they still respected each other, worked with each other for years.
Randy Savage loved her to a fault.
Yeah. I think it was good. It was a feel-good story.
Yeah.
I got Eddie Guerrero and Chyna as a on-screen couple.
Okay.
Probably my favorite of the Attitude Era, if we're being honest, because Eddie kept chasing Chyna for a really long time. It was like he was really just infatuated with her, and she kept turning him down, and you saw her just slowly wear her down to where she's starting to fall in love with him too, and it was like a really wholesome, love story chase. It ended poorly, but so do most relationships.
Do you know how great Eddie Guerrero has to be for us to be like, Vicky Guerrero gets a pass? We loved Eddie Guerrero so much that this woman that he loved, we're like, okay, we'll love her too.
We forget it.
You can do what you can be annoying, you can yell a whole bunch. That's fine. That's fine. You get a pass. Yeah.
And then we got Miz and Maurice and Bianca and Montez, two devoted couples who are celebrated in their own reality shows from WWE. Which, while not my cup of tea when it comes to television shows, is such a nice change from the standard infidelity and promiscuity-focused reality shows. There's currently a show on Peacock that's all about trying to find a third person for your relationship.
Yep.
That made me
that's the thing.
Real uncomfortable to see when I opened up the thing, and that's the first thing staring at me.
You know, I mean, you hate to shame people, but like, I just don't know how you even do it. You know, you and I are having a hard time each keeping our own individual, like just one
singular wife that we've chosen. Yes.
Yeah. I'm having a hard time thinking I'm enough for one person. My anxiety in a throuple would just be through the roof. That would be awful.
Yeah. That'd be terrible.
To me, I think my favorite wrestling love story is, and we talked about it a little bit, Edge and Beth Phoenix.
Oh, okay. Yeah. How did I not think of them?
They just have they've just got this beautiful energy to them that off screen, on screen, you know, in the WWE, off the WWE, they've just got this ability. You can't help but love them.
Yeah.
And you can't help but love them together. They named one of their daughters Lyric, which I think is odd. But again, you know, they're...
I would also say Taker and Michelle McCool is a pretty good
I forget
couple.
about them.
Yes. You don't know too much about their relationship, but on the occasions where they speak out about it, which I think he spoke a little bit of length of it during that 4 or 5 part documentary. The Last Ride. That's what it was. Like, this is neat to learn. Yeah. This is good to see how their relationship and how like her faith got him back on track with you know, a relationship with Christ and everything and all that kind of stuff. It's really cool.
Mm-hmm. You need yourself a good woman. Shawn Michaels found himself a good one who just stayed around during the whole thing too. Like, even when he was just being a jerk,
he was just watching WCW, saw a Nitro girl and fell in love. You're like, well,
I want that one. And then,
like so many young men did during that time.
Except he had the ability to go and take it.
Right.
That's the crazy thing. He was just like, yeah, I can do this. I'm Shawn Michaels, man. I can do whatever I want. And then for me, I think the downer of the whole group is Vince and Linda.
Oh, that hurt me so much for you to even say.
What even is that? What has it been for 30 years?
I was about to say, like, how long has it been this terrible way?
Like, you look at that and you're like, that's a business decision. You want to keep,
it always?
You want to keep your controlling of your company. She wants to have her political career.
Yeah. That hurt my heart.
It does. And we want to uplift your heart. And if you want to uplift your heart, what you do is you go and look at all the podcasts and all of the things that stream on LTN Radio. You get great stuff from Radio Matt. There's a whole lot more stuff from Radio Matt. You think he's good here? Imagine something he likes to do.
I'm just a sidekick here.
Imagine something he gives a crap about. It's great. And all of the Love Thy Nerd stuff, all of the LTN network of podcasts, you should listen to those at ltnradio.com. Not even close.
No.
Nope.
Just go to lovethynerd.com.
Yeah.
Click the listen button. You'll see all of the stuff that we got.
All sorts of good music, good podcasts, all sorts of good stuff. And we will be back in a couple of weeks.
Yeah,
getting ready for WrestleMania.
We'll be back for WrestleMania. But speaking of other crap that I do, you'll actually see us again on another show.
That's true.
On the Nerd History Podcast.
I'm taking over, baby.
Not this coming Monday, but the following. John's going to be joining me. We're going to be talking about the nerd history of WCW Nitro as we talk about the final episode of WCW Nitro.
And leading up to that, I'm going to Twitch stream live commentary on every single episode of Nitro aired, all 200 episodes, starting tonight.
Starting 6 p.m. Eastern Time. And last,
I tried to do that. I tried to watch every episode. The first few episodes,
a bit rough.
I'm out.
A bit rough. Yeah, we will mostly be focusing on that final episode and the aftermath of it, but we'll talk a little bit about WCW as a whole. But it'll be fun. It'll be a little bit, be just as laid back as this.
It'll be good.
It'll be good. So look for that.
But until then, my name's John. His name's Matt. And if you're not down with that, we got 2 words for you.